Did you know if you book flights or made a reservation inside your Gmail that it will automatically populate your Google Calendar without you having to do anything? Here's an example. I booked these last week, and if I go over to my calendar, there they are in there. So I could have notifications set up and everything without having to enter those things into my calendar. So if you want to learn more about Google Calendar, stick around for this video. I'm Jamie Keat at Teachers Tech. I do weekly tech tips here. So if you like what you see, please subscribe or give it a thumbs up. Let's get going on Google Calendar. So I'm just going to start from one of my Gmail accounts. I don't use the calendars for this account, so it will be a blank calendar, and the kind of the default, if you've never used your Google Calendar, it's what it should look like. So I'm just going to go ahead and open it up here just through my Google Apps. I'm just going to click on Calendar. And when it opens up, you can see it defaults right away into a week view with Sunday starting and Saturday ending, and it's broken up with the times throughout the day. And I can quickly change this from day back to week to month to 4 days and an agenda, which would give me kind of a list of all the different appointments that I would have or tasks coming up. So the one thing that can be customized is, so when I open this, it opened to week view. In the settings, I'll show you later how to customize this. So I often change mine. I like the month view to start with. And the other thing that you can change is this 4 day one. You can change it to 2 day or 3 day or 5 day. So you can adjust that to whatever suits your needs too. On the left hand side down here, you can see it says my calendars here. When it defaults, what happens is it defaults with a calendar with your name on it that you created the account with. There's also a birthdays one. So the birthdays one gets created, and this is if you use your Google Contacts and you have birthdays in there, it will be populated with those birthdays, and it also connects with your Google Plus for birthdays or anniversaries or different things like that too. There's also a task one. So if I click on task, you can see it's actually already open on my right hand side. I'll just click on it and you can see it went off. And then if I click on it again, it opened up. And this is a handy little feature. I like using this because I can just create these little to-do lists. For example, I'll just write example here. And if I click this little arrow here, then I can, what I can do is give a date to it. So let's say maybe on the I want it on the 22nd, a something, and I could give it a little, I'll just say finished job, and then I'm just going to go back to list. And you can see it's listed here. You notice it didn't show up here. That's because it's not in the correct date. And if I was in my week view, and if I want to jump ahead, or if I was doing day by day, these arrows up here will manage my timeline. So if I just go ahead, you can see it's right here. And this is something actually I can move around. Anytime I put anything onto the calendar, I can drag it around to a different date and it will change it. You notice it went from March 23rd, or so if I go back to the 21st, it automatically changes it. If I finish the task, all I have to do is click it. You can see it gets crossed out. So it's a handy little feature that I like to just kind of keep things in order to do, and very easy to use. And I like it when it connects to the calendar here. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete this one for now. And I'm just going to close that task list just by, you can see which one I'm on by how it's highlighted. So if I click off task, it will close and it's not highlighted. And so right now it's just my main calendar. The birthdays, I won't have anything in it because I don't use this account for any contacts on it too. So now the next thing what I wanted to do is create an event. I showed you how to create a task. At this time, you can see right at the top right left hand corner up here, you get this red button. You can create an event simply in here by typing. So if I say dinner with mom, let's say today at 6 p.m. And I could even add a little bit more detail, but I'll leave it as that. And I'm just going to hit add. You notice it didn't come up because I'm on the previous week. So if I switch to my month view, you can see it's on the 19th. Or if I would go back to my week view, if I just go back, you can see that it's on here. And like I showed you with the task, you can drag these all around. So if the time changed and said, well, maybe it's a little bit earlier, I could click and drag it around like this. If there was more details I wanted to get into, I can also edit it. So if I click on any of these, you can also edit the event. So I'm just going to click on edit it. And you can see I can adjust the times right up here. So if there was a different time I need to change, is this a repeating thing, or do I meet with my mom at this time, once a week or twice a week? So if I click on the repeat tool, this is a handy thing. If you have those repeating days, you can say if whether you repeat weekly, is it a monthly thing, yearly, and then so I can tell how many weeks I want to repeat on and repeat on what days, what day it starts on. I tend to use this a lot, especially if I know there's certain meetings that, it's always on a certain day. So definitely take advantage of the repeating one. It will save you some time when populating your calendar. The other thing you can do if you wanted to change your time, I'm just going to click off my repeating. If I go to find a time, I can also look at this would show me, if I wanted to specifically think what was happening in my day and there was other events in here, I can drag it along in here and you notice it will adjust the time up here. I could maybe stretch it out longer, so if I knew it was going to be a longer meeting. So that's how I could also, another way I could adjust the time. I'm just going to go back to the event details. A couple other things that you can do with this. So maybe I want to send, in this case, maybe I wanted to send a invite to my mom. So what I could do is type her name in here, and you can also do this with a group. So if you had a class or a group of people that you've created in your Gmail or set up by the admin, you could type the group in here and it would invite those people, and they would get an invite in their email. Then they could accept it from their email, but they're also going to get it populated on their calendar right away too. So this is where you add your guest to get the invite. So you can change what your guests can do to it. So if I wanted, in this case, if I wanted my mom to modify an event, I could just click on it, and then when she got it, she could modify it or invite others or see the guest list if there's multiple people on it. The other little handy thing, you could do is put a description in, and then add attachment would be another one here. So if I click add attachment here, you could connect it to different things. And let's say if you needed, maybe it was a ticket or something or PDF that you needed. It's just a good way to organize it, so you can attach your document here so it's on your calendar date, and when you open it up, it will be very handy available. And then again, you get your notifications here, how you want to be notified. You can change it from email to pop-up, and if you want to be notified 10 minutes, or you could change the time. There's a few different places to change your notifications from, and I'll show you a few later in the settings. And there's also a visibility, or show me so that if you want to avoid any conflicts, if you have already something set up at certain times, you can show a person is busy, so that they knew I wasn't possible. If they try to book me at that time, it would come up as busy and they would be notified. So there's so there's not two meetings at the same time. And then you can see that there's the visibility and the default, the public or private on this one. So those are just some of the things you can do. Once you create an event, you can edit your event like that. So when you make any of these changes, make sure you hit save, or if you didn't want them, discard, or if you want to delete this altogether, hit delete. So I'm just going to hit save here, and you can see it's still there. So what I'm going to do right now is I often I don't usually set mine up Sunday through Saturday like this. So I'm just going to go into the settings here and show you a couple things to tweak that. So I'm just going to go to my settings up here, up there, and then what I'm going to do is you can kind of see a few different things here. Make sure your time zone is in the correct place too, so make it so that everything matches up. So you can always double check that. Usually it's a correct one depending on how you've set up your account here. So right here you can see week starts on a Sunday. I'm going to put week starts on a Monday for myself. Another option I like in here is so show a warning to other people if it's outside your working hours. So if you know if you don't want people to send you an invite during a certain if you only want to get it during your working hours, so just set this to what days and what times, so they'll get a message back saying this is outside your working hour too. So this is the custom view I was talking about before, where it's a 4 days. So maybe you only want a 2 day at a time or a 3 days. So I'm going to change that to 3 days, and by default view I'm going to change it to month now. And whenever you make any of these changes in your setting, make sure you hit save. And then what you can see right away when I went back, I'm in my month view. If I go to my week view now, notice it starts on a Monday. For myself, I like it grouped here with a Saturday and Sunday at the end, but then anybody can start that how they wish to start it. So a quick way to add, I'm going to keep going with adding some events here, is just to click on anything. So I'm going to go to, let's say, my next week here. And I'm just going to click on a day. So let's say there was something on a Wednesday. I can just quickly, if I know something's at 12 p.m., I can just quickly click on it and I'll say meeting here. And I can create the event. And if it changes, remember, I can go through and move it around if it changes the next day. I really like that feature. Another feature I like is if you click up in the top bar right below the dates here, if you need an all day event, just click in here. So if I'll say, I'll just say we're going on a hike that day. And so I'll create an event like this, and it's going to be set up as an all day. I can still edit any of these too. So if I click on it, you can see I have my edit event and it defaults to the all day. I can repeat this again, just like what I was talking about before. I'll just undo that. But when you click up top, it creates that all day event. The other thing, I'm just going to click here and do the same thing. You can also create your task from here too. So if I wanted a new task, I can just create it here and it connects to my task list there. All right, so I've showed you some quick ways to make your events. Now what we want to do is go to searching for events. So what I like is once you've created all these events, you can search for them too. So if I knew, and I don't have a lot populated in this calendar, but so for instance, if I put, well, I know there's a hiking one, I'll just say meeting. So if I type in meeting, if I know but if I could be specific with a name that I knew I was meeting someone, just search for it. And you can see what it did was just find the one. But if you knew there was a certain person you were looking for in the meeting and you didn't know if it was maybe a month ahead or even previous ones, you can do a search for it and it will quickly find what you're looking for. Just like all the Google products, the searching is a great way to speed up stuff when you're looking for it. So I'm just going to go back to my regular view, and remember you can delete these events too. You can just click on them and hit delete like this, and then they'll go away. Let's get into creating some calendars now. So I've showed you the first few, the defaults, what we have between my named one with the birthdays and the task. You can create as many calendars as you want. And I find this really handy, like even at school, we'll create external, internal calendars, and we can show them in different ways too to keep them among the staff, or we can show them to the public if they need to be too. So when you see this little arrow here, if I click down on it, you can see it says create a new calendar. And there's different ways you can get to create a new calendar. And I'll show you a few different ways, but I find this is the quickest way for myself. So I'm just going to create a new calendar, and I'm just going to call this example 1 here. I can give it a description. Again, I could put a location on it and the calendar time zone. And you can see down here, I can actually share this. So if I knew I wanted to share this with my organization, I'd want to make sure I click this right here. So when I have a choice here, I can make this calendar public. So if I make this calendar public, anybody can see it if they have the link to it. Or else what I can do is share this within my organization, and then what I do is add people down here, and when I add a person down here, I can give them some permissions here. So I could either make changes and manage sharing, give them to make changes to events, or see only free busy time, or see all events. So it depends on how much permission you want to give each person. You could, if you added 10 people, you can select them differently of what permissions you want on them. So that's how we would share it. And so once you share it with them, I'll just go ahead and create this calendar. Once you shared it with them, what would happen is that I'm just waiting for it to load up here. I can see it's loading. Oh, there it goes. Okay, so you can see example 1 was here. And if I share this with anybody, this will come up on their list too. So in this case, if I have it green right here, and you can see this one is blue, I can change the colors of these very easily. If you didn't want green, you can just click a different color, click the arrow, and then click off it like this. So as I said, I can add as many calendars I want. You can share them like I showed you. And if you're adding an event to each of these, what you want to do is, so as you get more calendars, you'll want to add. What a common mistake is, people just start adding to their front one, and they might be wanting to be adding to a different one. So you can see right now the only one I have selected is the example one. As I put more on, what would happen is more things would show up. So for example, if I'm just going to go to my month view here, and I do have, so it defaults with the holidays in Canada. If you're in the US, it would default, I believe, with holidays in the US. I'm just going to turn that one on too, and you can see how the calendar starts to get populated. So as you can get, so if you only want to see one calendar, if I only want to see the holidays ones, I could turn all these off, and then I'm only left with that one. So when you're creating an event on a calendar, make sure you're selecting the calendar that you want. So you can tell that by the highlighting. The other thing is, if I wanted something only on this example one, you can see if I click down, I can create an event on that calendar like so. And then it just brings me back to the same one. So I just say test, and I'll just leave it as so, and I'll just hit save. And then if I delete the other ones, or sorry, not delete, but if I just hide it, you can see that's all that's left is that one I just made. So make sure you do insert things on the correct calendar, especially if you're sharing, so it doesn't confuse people with what is going on to each calendar. So I have seen that happens where it just gets a little confusing too. You can also, if you wanted to share this calendar, you can also do it this way here. So I showed you in the one way, but when you open it up, you can just see how it kind of connects the same part that I was showing you before, just on a shorter page here. This is the notifications I've talked about before, and I showed you one way. What you can do is you can get notifications. You can add a notification through a pop-up or the email, and you set up, if it's coming from this calendar, how you would like it. Then if you have your all day of notifications, same thing from here. You can set it up here. You notice on this one it says choose how you would like to be kept up to date, and you have email, and if things are changed, you have email and SMS. You can set this up. I'll show you how a little later. I can't click on any of these right now because I haven't set up my SMS on this one, but you notice I could select email for any of these ones, but I'll show you that a little later. So again, if there's trash here, I'll just hit OK. They want me to save it here. If there's anything in the trash, I can restore. So if anything I deleted from this calendar, I could just click the little box and then restore or delete forever or clear the selection. So I'm just going to go back here to the calendar details here. If I make the calendar public also, so if I go back, I'm going to go back to share this calendar. I'm going to make this calendar public. I'm going to hit save here and make your calendar. Yes, I'm going to hit there, and I'm going to go back to this one more time. So I'm going to go back to my share the calendar or calendar details. And now if I wanted to give, I can give that link to anybody. So if I click on this HTML and this link that I could give this, since it's now public, I could copy this link, and what they would get is this right here. So you can see the one example of the test, but this would be public. Anybody could see it. So I could email out a link and they could open it up. They couldn't change anything on it depending on the settings that you have, but it's a good way if you wanted to put a lot of events and share it with a bunch of people. You could just do it like so. I'm just going to close that one down. And you can see that there's saves at the bottom and save at the top, so you don't always have to scroll back to the top. So I'm just going to hit save on that one. And they have also in the other calendars down here, what you have is you can add some interesting calendars and a few other. You can import calendars. You could connect to a coworker's calendars. Let's say we'll browse interesting calendars. You can see there's different holidays in different countries, or you could have sports. Let's say I'll pick no, I'm going to go back to baseball here. Let's go Major League Baseball. And let's see, if I was going to travel down to Phoenix and saw the Diamondbacks, I could subscribe to this. And now if I go back to my calendar up here, and you can see it's here. It's not highlighted right now, but if I select it, you can see that there'll be different all the times on it. So if you do have a favorite team or other things, search through it, and then you'll be notified, and you can have your notifications of different things like that too. So I'm just going to go and just turn this one off so it doesn't view here. Oops, I gotta make sure I turn the right one off here and turn them both off. So holidays and the Diamondbacks are off there. And so next, what I want to show you is just some of the other settings up top in here. So I'm just going to go back to my settings here. And I talked about the mobile setup with the SMS. So I'm just going to go up to mobile setup. And what you can see is this is where you would put your phone number in here. If you want to be notified through SMS, you have to set it up here. So it doesn't take too long to do. You can see it's very simply, then they'll send you the verification code to follow the instructions. They also have labs. If you're used to Gmail, the one thing you can do, I haven't used these a lot. I haven't really found a lot that help me out, but they do have labs here that if you wanted to enable, you can try out. So if you're used to using them in Gmail, it works pretty much the same way. Third-party things just to try to add a bit more convenience or more power to the calendar here. I'm just going to go to general here real quick. Another option I like is the weather one here. So I'm just going to scroll down to see if I can find it here. So you can see right here it says show weather based on my location. This is the location based. So I'll just give an example. So if I was typing in New York and I'll go NY, whoops, NY, and if I want to show it in Celsius or Fahrenheit, I'll put Fahrenheit and I'll hit save here. And then what it does here, I'm just going to go back and turn on my calendars here. And you can see as it goes through here, I just believe it's loading right now here. Let me go back to today here. And then, no, there it is. It's populating right now. So you can see there's a little weather symbol now on it. So if I click on it, I can see the forecast for New York. New York is at 47 Fahrenheit on it. It shows the low. So I tend to add that. I like to follow the weather. And if I'm on my calendar, it gives me a quick look at it too. So the next thing I want to talk about is in the settings. I'm just going to go one more time to show one last thing. I'm just going to go up here again. And this time I'm just going to go to my calendars here, and you can see the list of the calendars that are in here. So there's the example one that I've created and the other calendars down below. So if you wanted to get rid of calendars or change the share settings, you can come in here and click on them. If you wanted to unsubscribe from a calendar, you can click unsubscribe, and this won't affect other people that are subscribed to it. It will just, you won't have access to it anymore. So if you just wanted to make some quick adjustments, go up to the settings and then calendars, and then you can see right from here, you can have all of the functions in here too. So I'm just going to go back again to my general, and remember, any changes you make in here, hit the save, not that I made any there. And again, if you're deleting anything in your calendar, so for instance, I'm going to delete this hike here. And let's say if it was an accidental thing, I didn't want to delete it, I can go back to this, and if I go to view trash, you can see there's a few things I deleted. So I'm just going to click on hike, and I can restore the selected events. So if you did delete something accidentally, you can get it back. And I'm just going to go back, and I'm going to make sure I turn it on. And it should be, what day am I on here? Oh, I jumped over to May by accident. I'll go back to March, and there you go there. So I hope you like this little tutorial, a little longer tutorial on Google Calendars. I find if you're using your Gmail and everything, how it connects with the invites and everything, it just works great to keep you organized. So I hope this tutorial came in helpful for you today. If it did, please give it a thumbs up or share it with some friends. And remember, I have weekly tech tip videos at my channel here, so please subscribe. I'll see you next week.